everyone, somebody in the comments asked whether I have a video on how to publish a bulk printed book. So whether you're ordering or you have ordered books in their hundreds or in their thousands, you've got a lot of books and you need to actually officially publish those and make them available for people to buy. And I had a look through my videos and I have not talked about this. I thought that I had, but yeah, I've never made this video, so I thought there's no time like the present and I will sit down and film this today. And if you do ever have a specific topic that you'd like me to cover, or you have a question, or you'd like me to make an updated version of one of my older videos, please do send me a message or leave me a comment on one of the videos. I love hearing from you guys anyway, but also, yeah, I'm always happy to try to answer any specific questions that you have. I'll give it my best shot. Today I want to talk about this actual publishing process. So publishing a bulk printed book is different to publishing via a print-on-demand service. And I'm going to link below a playlist of all of my writing and publishing videos. If you're interested in print-on-demand, there's a whole load of stuff in there. There's all sorts of videos about all sorts of things, so there's bound to be some useful stuff. If you want to find out more about print-on-demand, or why I have some via print on demand and some via having them printed and publishing and distributing them myself, then you can find out more about that there. But if you are new to my channel, essentially my adult books, self-publishing and Milk, are available through print on demand services, and my children's books are all printed and then I publish and distribute those myself. But as I say, there's more information in the videos on that playlist. So if you use print on demand, essentially you fill in a load of information on their website, you upload your files, and then they do the official publishing part, and they sort of join up all of the distribution channels, and all that you really need to do is to drive sales to the outlets that you want to, and then if you wish you can order some copies to have yourself to sell on your website or via author events. But essentially the actual publishing bit, they handle that part. Whereas if you are having books printed, then you need to do that bit. So one of the advantages of print on demand, along with the fact that you don't have the big initial outlay, you haven't got lots and lots of books, you don't have to make a guess of how many you're going to sell. But if you've decided to have your book printed so that you can access the lower cost per unit, or so that you have more printing options, thicker paper, those kinds of things, then as I say, you're going to have to do the publishing part and make sure that all of the distribution channels work. Now this video is going to be fairly UK specific because I have not done any of that for my books in other countries. If you want to purchase one of my children's books and you don't live in the UK, your best bet is probably to buy them from my website with the international shipping, I'm afraid. So yeah, I haven't set up for those books to be distributed elsewhere. So although the process isn't going to be hugely different elsewhere, I am going to talk about how this works in the UK. So essentially everything centres on the ISBN, and there is a video in that playlist I mentioned all about ISBNs. In fact, I think that's what it's called. So if you want to know more, you can have a look at that. So you will have bought one or more ISBNs depending on your requirements. In the UK, you buy those from Nielsen. In the US, it's Bowker. I'll link below as well ISBN International, which is where you can find out where you buy ISBNs from in your specific territory. But as I said, I'm going to particularly talk about the UK. So you buy your ISBNs from Nielsen, and then you need to let Nielsen know what you're using that ISBN for when you have decided to use it. So you need to go onto Nielsen Title Editor. In the US, I think it's Books in Print for Bowker, and you set up an account there. And you add an entry for that particular ISBN, so you put the number in and then you add all of the metadata. So you're going to give them the author name, illustrator name, like any other contributors, your publishing name, your company that you've set up, or however you've gone about that. Details of the number of pages, the format of the book, the trim size, the language, the age range, the topic, all of that stuff. You're going to put all of that in there. And I would say come back to this regularly. Set yourself a reminder to have a quick look at your entries in Nielsen title editor if you have bought ISBNs, even if you're through print on demand, because it's really important that everything on there is accurate and everything is filled in. I once had for one of my print on demand books that my author name wasn't there. So if people were trying to look for the book via my name, they wouldn't be able to find it. So make sure that there is as much information as you can. You have the option to do a quick entry, and you also have the option to do a more detailed one. You can always do a quick one and come back to the more detailed later. But as I say, do check back on it to make sure it's accurate, because when anybody scans that barcode, that's going to populate that information. Equally, all of your online listings are populated from what you've put into Nielsen title editor. So that needs to be accurate, because any discrepancies are going to cause you problems. So that's the core of it. That's where the publishing kind of happens. You're going to put a date in there for the release of the book, and then that will populate all of the places basically. So your book will pop up in all of the places as a result of that listing in Nielsen title editor. And as I say, if anyone buys the book or anything like that, it comes back to that information held about the ISBN. So do make sure that's accurate. So then what you need to do is have a think about how you want to distribute your book, and make sure that those specific avenues work really well. And I'm specifically going to talk briefly about Amazon and about Waterstones, because those are probably the biggest ones that you are going to be interested in. So Amazon to start with. If you want to sell your book via Amazon, then you are going to need to set up an account with Amazon Seller Central. Now, I'm going to link below a playlist of my videos about Amazon Seller Central. There are lots of different options. The pricing can work different ways. You can make different decisions about how you want to do things. So I'm not going to go through that here, but if you want your book to be distributed using Amazon, you're going to need an Amazon Seller Central account, and you're going to need to either send them books if you're using the Fulfilled by Amazon option, or you're going to need to set up the information so that it's fulfilled by you as the merchant, if that's the avenue that you want to go down. That will then mean that if somebody wants to buy your book on Amazon, you will come up as the seller, and then they can buy from you, and you hopefully will have the buy now button. If you're using Fulfilled by Amazon, it will say how many copies there are, so there might be 5 that you've sent them. If it's fulfilled by you, then that will look a bit different, and it will charge shipping. If all of that sounds really confusing, do look at that playlist that I mentioned. If you don't distribute through Amazon, you don't set up Amazon Seller Central and all of that, then other vendors will be able to sell your book, which is fine if you're happy with that. But what you often see is those listings where your book is £100 and I don't know why that happens, but it does. So you get those kind of new and used and all of the strange prices. Somebody actually commented on one of my videos recently to say that they looked at one of my children's books on Amazon.com and it was listed at like $75 or something, and that's because I do not distribute to Amazon.com or anywhere other than Amazon.co.uk. So Amazon have the information about the book because they have that from Nielsen, that automatically populated, but they don't have actual copies of the book. So other sellers are able to kind of take over that listing, if that makes sense. So if you want to sell through Amazon, Amazon Seller Central, and supply Amazon yourself. So then Waterstones is a little more complex, and I'm going to link a video by Kirsten McNeil. She does a really good job of explaining it, but I'm going to have a go at explaining that as well. So the main company that you need to become aware of, not just for Waterstones, but for lots of other outlets as well, is Gardeners. Gardeners are a book distributor. They are the biggest book distributor, and you're going to need to have an account with them. So I am going to link a link for Waterstones IPC, which I think stands for Independent Publishing Company, something like that. And there is a link on there for a form that you print off and you send to Gardeners with all of your publishing information. That then means that Gardeners will set up a small account. So it's called I think it's special order account or something like that, unless you get large numbers, in which case you'll have a different kind of an account. But essentially that means that you have an account with them, you've set up what your discount to them is, all of that information, and then if anybody orders, so whether that's Waterstones or somebody else, and a lot of places use Gardeners, they make the order, Gardeners contact you, you get an email, you send the books to Gardeners, they send it onwards. And it might seem silly to have that middleman, but that's just the way it works. They will supply WH Smiths, they'll supply supermarkets, they'll supply all of the places, lots and lots of the places. So you need to print that form off, fill it in, send it to Gardeners. In good time, it takes them a while to process it. Then you also need to fill in a form for Waterstones as well to again set things up with them and let them know about the book that's available and tie up everything there. So one form for Gardeners, one for Waterstones. I think the Waterstones one is online. So essentially by doing that, by having an account with Gardeners, you have access to lots and lots of different places. If Nielsen is correct, then that makes sure that all the metadata and the information is correct. And then you can set yourself up an account with Amazon if you want to go down that route. If there are any other places that you want to sell, the information should be available, but if it isn't, people are really helpful. I found that just send someone an email or give them a call and ask, how does this work? There are loads of kind of agents that work with various different retailers and things like that. So you might speak to a particular place about stocking your book and they might say, oh, yeah, but we use this particular agent. So you might have to, or distributor. So you might have to set up an account with them. So sometimes there's a little bit of finding out how these things work, but Gardeners is your big one. So if you've got an account with them, then that's going to be really, really helpful. And essentially that's it. There's the core of it is that Nielsen title editor bit and making sure the information is correct. And then just going down the different avenues, right? I want people to be able to buy my book here. I want people to be able to buy my book here, and just making sure that all of those things work. If they don't work, it can be really helpful to do things like have a good relationship with your local Waterstones. My local Waterstones, shout out to the Deal Bookshop. I can go in there and say, I don't think this is working, can you have a look on your system? And they will, and they're really, really lovely, and they will check and go, oh no, that's not working, I think the issue is XYZ, and then we can sort those things out. So having people you are friendly with in local branches of Waterstones, very, very helpful. And then, as I say, just reach out and ask if you are not sure with any particular outlet. And all these things can change. You know, if you didn't quite get it right, you can go back to Nielsen Title Editor and make edits. I find things more often than I should that are not right on my listings. And, you know, you might find that something doesn't work and you can make those changes later. It doesn't all have to be perfect for publication day. You can sort things out as you go down the line. And for lots of us, this is a learning experience. I know that's been a bit rambly. I hope that's been helpful. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. If you've got any tips, then please do put below. Anything about how to get distribution via certain outlets, any useful links, all of that good stuff is always very appreciated. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you all soon for another video. Take care.